Goofy. Says dedicated start music, huh? Fascinating.
I'll be honest with you. Funny, there's a funny story behind this song. So, my cousin, who also is a YouTuber, well, he's more of a, well, yeah, he does YouTube. Um, he did like a Monkey Ball 2 playthrough, and he said, I'm gonna do a goal compilation video. So I made this song for the compilation, but guess what? He used the wrong song and used a different song I made instead. And I was like, "Oh, come on, man!" Like I was like just angry because I was like, "I made it for you, and you didn't even use it." Also, you kind of technically missed the first like minute of the music because I always forget that when you schedule a stream, you have to both hit it on OBS and YouTube, which normally just hitting stream on OBS is enough to get the whole thing going. But when you schedule it, it doesn't work like that anymore. You have to hit it on OBS and then hit go live on YouTube. It's weird. I don't know why it's different when you schedule. Yeah, that song took me like 3 days to make. Anyways, I don't know if anyone else is. It's just you right now. I kind of just got some things to get off my chest about this game here. Because, boy, do I have a complicated opinion of it. There's a part of me. It's hard. I hate to say this. Like, I really do. Because I do like this game. But there's, like, a part of me that kind of thinks BT3 is better. Which is sad. Because, like, this game should be better than 3. It should be. Because this is 4. And it does add things that was missing in the last game. The problem is that they changed other things too that made it worse. It's like the mechanics are all botched up. Like they just screwed it up. One thing that's funny though, maybe I'll bring this up because a lot of people on the internet have been bringing this up lately. The Yajirobe nerf, because it's become popular. In the last game, you could stall with him, and like there were some silly strategies you could do with him, but it wasn't like a meta strategy because it wasn't that consistent. It was like kind of inconsistent to do. But it's not even really Yajirobe's fault, to be honest. It's just the new design of the game that made him better. Because it's Sparking Zero, aka Tenkaichi 4, because that's basically what it is. There's a lot of things that changed, including how building key and building skill gauges works. And I don't know why they decided to do this, but there's two things they did in this game that are questionable to me. One, some characters can start with more than 0 skill gauges now. Some characters can just start with 2. And I don't know why this is a thing. The only way they were able to do this in the last game was with ability capsules, which, you know, they're banned in competitive, obviously. You had to equip items to your character to do that. But in this game, some characters just flat out just start with 2 skill gauges. And I don't understand what the point of this. 2, the skill gauges increase a lot faster now. Like, It is way too easy to skill spam in this game. There were skill spam strats back then, don't get me wrong, but that was like pretty character dependent. And you kind of had to play in a very specific way to even get it to work, because like it's easy for your opponent to just catch on and just stop you. In this game though, it is so easy to skill spam. You can do it with just almost any character because you build skill gauge so fast now. And here's why Yajirobe became broken. He was kind of a meme character anyway, but he had a skill called Sensu Bean. And it costs 5 skill points, which is more expensive than any skill in the game in BT3. I actually don't know if someone else has a 5 skill in this game, but in BT3 no one did. It was the most expensive skill in the game, and building up 5 skill gauges took a while. Well, at least it used to. And what did Sensu Bean do? Hear me out, because this sounds stupid. It fully heals him. Full heal. Of course, using the skill does have a bit of build-up, so if your opponent stays on you, you won't have the time to eat it. So you do need to get some distance from your opponent to eat it, and you need 5 skill gauges. It's kind of hard to do in BT3, but in Sparking Zero, people were spamming the Sensu Bean like no one's business, and basically they would just stall out the timer and win by timeout. That was what Yajirobe builds would do. They would time out the opponent with Sensu Bean, and it was cancer. So they ended up having to nerf him by making Sensu Bean 6 skill points, which in my opinion is still not enough. And they lowered his health by half a bar, which makes Yajirobe the only character in the entire game I know of that just has a half bar of health somewhere. Because everyone else has a number divisible by 10,000, which is how much a health bar is in this game, and in the last game too. Tenkaichi just works like that, 10,000 per health bar. Some characters would have 3 bars, some have 4, and some have 5. That's the standard. But now Yajirobe just has a half of a bar, which makes him very weird. Like, why didn't you just remove the whole bar? I don't know. And guess what? People are complaining less, but people still found a way to make Yajirobe... Now, Yajirobe isn't super OP in single matches anymore because of that nerf, but he is still good enough to be OP in DP battles. And DP battles are team fights where you can build a team of up to 5 people based on a limited number of D points or destruction points. I don't know if Sparking Zero ever refers to them as destruction points. I actually don't remember Sparking Zero ever calling them destruction points, but I know they're called that because BT3 calls them that. And you're limited to 15 D points, or DP. There is a team, a very cancer team, by the way, that people would spam in DP. It would be Yajirobe, Videl, Master Roshi, and then some obligatory powerful character to fill up the rest of the DP slots. Because for some baffling reason, Roshi, Videl, and Yajirobe are 2 DP each! 2! And that leaves them 9 points to add another character. Literally, you could add any character you want there, aside from, like, Beerus and Whis, because they're 10 points. But, like, everyone else, you could fill that in. That's stupid. So, I don't know why this tag team is stupid. Well, let me tell you why this tag team is stupid. So, Yajirobe is obviously doing the same thing he normally does. Stalling the opponent out, wasting their time, waiting for that Sensu Bean skill to pop up, and then he will use it when he gets the chance, so that you never fucking kill him. Videl and Roshi actually complement his strategy very well, because they can also be used in a stally-ass way. Because both of them have a skill, and this is a very controversial skill in this game. In fact, the skill works differently than it did in BT3. In BT3, the skill was actually weaker, but they buffed it in this game, and I don't know why. It's called After Image Strike. And what does it do? For 15 seconds, you will automatically evade every melee attack. You have to hit them with, like, key blasts or, like, teleport counters and stuff like that. Like, only hyper-specific moves hit them. So for 15 seconds, they literally just auto-dodge, like, half your fucking moveset. And, sure, it costs 3 skill points, which sounds like it'd make it balanced. But you gotta remember, you build up skill gauge really fast in this game. So it's spammable. That was actually what made After Image Strike, like, less annoying in BT3. It took a while to build, and, I think it lasted less time, if I remember correctly. Nah, dude, no, we gotta have a 15-second auto-dodge skill. Oh, and Roshi is... Here's the thing with Roshi. Roshi has another trick up his sleeve. 2 of them, in fact. His other skill is False Courage, which is also a top-tier skill, because it costs 1 point, and what it does is give you super armor for 10 seconds. So Roshi can give himself armor and auto-dodging. That is stupid. And if you didn't think Roshi was annoying enough already, 2 out of 3 of his super attacks are unblockable. You cannot block Thunder Shock Surprise, and you can't block the Evil Containment Wave. Why? Why did they make Roshi like this? And all this stuff that he can do on a 2 DP character. 2! He's arguably worse than Yajirobe now. Like, so, basically, Roshi and Vidal's job is to stall, you know? And then they would just switch into Yajirobe, eat the Senzu Bean, and then switch back out. Whenever Yajirobe gets low in health, he just tags out, waits for Videl and Roshi to build the skill gauge, tags back in, heals, repeat the process. Videl is similar, but I think she's a little bit less stupid than Roshi. She is a little more bearable, but she still has some bullcrap, because she has After Image Strike too. So she can also auto-evade shit. The only thing, her other skill is kind of whatever, though. It's just Unyielding Spirit, or whatever it's called. All it does is, it's an instant Sparking Mode move that costs 3 skill points, which is just kind of normal. A lot of characters have something like that. It's still useful, though, because going into Sparking Mode is good in this game. So that makes her annoying in a different way. Instead of just super armoring everything while dodging, she dodges while building up Sparking Mode and then just beats the shit out of you. She's like a more offensive Roshi. And also, just to help things out, Videl Kick has a low key cost, so it's spammable. So you might just be thinking you got her on the ropes, and then she'll just throw a random Videl Kick, and you'd lose like 6,000 health. Yeah, fucking crazy combo. Now, to be fair, this is coming from me, like, watching the metagame, because I haven't fought against most of these strategies. You wanna know why? Well, I'll get to that later. I'll let you know why I haven't been able to experience it, but I've heard enough stories from friends and other people on servers about how cancer that team is. At least Videl's supers are blockable. So, here's how I feel about the game. The single player, it does have some things that I kind of wish were different, but for the most part, they kind of nailed the offline part of the game. The online part of the game, though, Oh man, the online, they fucked it up really bad. Really bad. Especially if you're on PC. I actually am rank D5, which is the lowest rank you can get, I think, because you just start on it. Wanna know why my rank hasn't gone up? Because I can't play the fucking game online. The only way I can play the game online is if it's very specific, by the way, because I found a group that actually can get the game to work. We're all part of a small community in the Sparking Zero Discord known as the Communication Error Group or whatever. And I can play with them only because they invite me as a friend on Steam, because apparently if you join a friend, it like makes the signal more stable if you're playing in like a friend server on Steam. Two, they also use old Windows 10 computers. And because we all use old Windows 10 computers, we apparently are we apparently have enough what's the word? We're compatible enough for the picky game to work. Because one of the guys in the group decided to play us on his Windows 11 machine. The game didn't let him. The game didn't let him play. That's how picky it is. It's like, oh, you have Windows 11 instead of Windows 10? Well, fuck you. So yeah, that's what I resorted to playing online in Sparking Zero. Waiting for specific friends who play on Windows 10 specifically to call me up for a match. That's what I got to resort to. Because if I play ranked or unranked, I get disconnected from the fight every single time. Without fail. 100% consistency. And ranked is supposedly supposed to be more stable than unranked, but nope, it doesn't change anything for me. So I don't really get to compete in the meta. And I'm honestly not, and I'm sad about that because there are some things I hate about the new meta, but there's also things I kind of like about the meta, like 19 and 20, 19 and Dr. Gero. Back in Tenkaichi 3, they were like mid. They were like really mid. They were just okay. But in this game, holy shit, they're cracked. They're cracked now. Like, holy fuck. Basically, there's 3 things they do that makes them annoying. And I'm not really sure which one of them is better because it just depends on what, like, secondary skill and, like, what supers you prefer. But both 19 and 20 start with 2 skill gauges, which, fine. But they also both have false courage. Again, a 1-slot move, like a 1-skill stock move, that gives you super armor for 10 seconds. You are giving Dr. Gero and 19 2 stocks at the beginning of the match, and the super armor costs 1. So, right from the beginning, you can just start the match in super armor, and just, and unless the match goes south really hard, you can maintain the super armor like the whole match. So yeah, 2 stocks, 1 stock for super armor, spammable. And their grab. Now, to be fair, their grab was also good in Tenkaichi 3, but because they didn't have fucking constant super armor and they didn't start with 2 stocks, they were balanced in that game. But no, they have these things on top of their grab, and they have one of the best grabs in the game because it steals health from the enemy and gives it to you. Oh yeah, by the way, it also steals their ki and gives you ki. So you literally are draining their health and their ki from the opponent, and you gain that health and ki. That's how good this throw is. So of course there is counterplay to this. In fact, like if you're a good smart player and you catch on to the Dr. Gero strat, you can stop it. But it is such a fucking knowledge check, and it's such a big like beginner's trap where you would super armor yourself. The opponent will try to hit you and fail, and while they're trying to hit you, you armor through them and grab them. And then you just spam that combo until you win. Like, of course, you also attack too, but, like, if they try to attack you while you're attacking, you'll armor right through it, and then you go, oh, you're going to try to hit me with a combo? Well, I'm going to grab you, and it'll go right through your stinking combo. Now, of course, like I said, if they know what if they know you're doing it, then they can prepare by having your, by keeping an eye on the throw animation, so that whenever it comes out, they got to keep their finger on that that R1 button so they can do a throw tech, because they got to throw tech that shit, or they're gonna get fucking murdered. um, of course, if they catch on and start throw teching you, then you got to actually like adapt. But still, it's such a stupid strategy. It works on so many people. And I kind of like the androids as characters. I've always been a fan of the androids, so I kind of like that they're top tier for once. But I will admit, they are kind of stupid. Like, why do they start with 2 skill gauges? Why? Even if they didn't, they'd still be high tier. I swear. So yeah, single player. They tried to do something they did something very different than the last game. The last game did like it's pretty basic, to be honest. It's just like Goku's story where it's like, oh, here's the plot elements from Z. First we talk about the Saiyans, then we talk about Frieza, then we talk about Cell, and you just go through each fight as they go. And then after you do that, you get some extra sagas, like you get the OG Dragon Ball saga where you go through the original series. Then after you do all that, there's also the movies. They have a saga for the movies, and all they are is just fights that based off the events of the show. And then as a little present at the end, after you beat all the main stories, you get a what if story where you get a few funky fights that the devs just came up with, and a couple of them are pretty funny. Like, I think my favorite one, it happens. I think it's the last mission too. Literally, Devilman. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people remember Devilman, right? Anyone remember Devilman? Uh, yeah, I don't know why he's playable in this in Tenkaichi 3, but he is. He literally just kills like all the series' biggest villains by himself. He's like, oh yes, that's the hero we needed, Devilman. Just goes and kills Frieza and like Cell and Boo. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that one's funny. So in Sparking Zero, it's similar, but now it's not like saga based exactly. It's more, well, I mean, they still kind of do that. It's the same idea, but now there's 8 different characters that you can play as. And I'll be honest with you, some of the choices they made are questionable. And at first, when I played it, I thought they were going to make up shit for some of the characters since they didn't really have much material to work on. But no, they just made their story short, and they tried to pad the fuck out of some characters just so it feels like they have a full story. So Goku's is like the most normal and the one that I have the least to complain about. It goes through the whole series, and yeah, you just go through Z and you go through Super, and that's it. Um, Vegeta's is also pretty fine. There's not too much weird with it. Then there's Future Trunks, which is a little weird because they don't really they like totally skim over the Android saga. There's very little he does there. Like, it's almost entirely based off his appearance in Super. So it's all about fucking Zamasu and Black. Um then we have like what was it, Gohan story, which is a little weird because there's a couple parts of it that they don't let you play, but then there's parts they do let you play that seem backwards. Piccolo's is also kind of weird because, um, despite most of these character stories like meant to be essentially canon, although there are choices you can make at certain points in the story to do non-canon things, I don't know if I somehow did the wrong thing as Piccolo, but it looks like I did the story correctly. They actually just made up an ending for Piccolo where he, like, wears down Cell for Gohan. I'm just like, oh, okay, that happened. Like, that's not supposed to happen. Then there's, so that's 4. Here's when it gets weird. There's Frieza. His is actually probably the best out of the villain ones because they actually, like, give him a lot of people to kill. So his was actually kind of fun. Then there's Jiren, which they didn't do shit with Jiren. Like, I know he was introduced really late in Super, which means he didn't have that much time to develop as a character. Like, just that one tournament. And yeah, the tournament of power was kind of long, but, like, that means his entire story that you play is just him at the tournament and nothing else. So they had to pad it out. They, like, drag out each individual fight he has just so it doesn't feel too short. And they also just made Goku, like, bullshit hard just to pad it out further. It's like, oh yeah, I know he has Ultra Instinct, but chill the fuck out. Like, stop walloping me. And then there was like, well, I know I'm missing a character. Who was the other one you play as? Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Trunks, Frieza, Jiren. There was like another villain character I know. I just remember their story was also handled very weirdly. That's one thing I kind of don't like about the base roster in the game is that they took out some really cool characters from BT3. Like, they kept the majority of them, but there's a few characters they're missing. Mainly, they kind of just, aside from Goku himself, they, like, took out all the Dragon Ball characters that were in Tenkaichi 3 for some reason. So, like, basically they just, aside from that one Goku and Daima Goku, they're, like, the only exception. Everyone else is just from Z and Super and GT. At least they have GT characters, and even then they removed a couple of them. Like, we don't have Nova Shinron anymore, and yeah, actually, we don't have Super 17 either. No Super 17. The only the only GT characters they kept was Pan, Goku, Vegeta in Super Saiyan 4, and Sin Shinron and Baby. Yeah, Baby and Shinron are like the two. Not sure why they didn't have Super 17 though. Nova Shinron's a bit more understandable because he was more like like a henchman of the main villain, but Nova Shinron was special because he was like the one dragon out of the 7 to revolt against Sin. So like I can see why they would add him in 3, but they just removed him. But all the Dragon Ball characters, aside from Goku, are gone. That means Child Chi-Chi is gone, Grandpa Gohan's gone, General Blue is gone, Nam is gone, um, Ader is gone, Mercenary Tao is gone, King Piccolo is gone, Tambourine is gone. Yeah, they actually had all of those characters in BT3. A couple of them I can kind of get though, like I don't think anyone was begging for Nam to come back. Or General Blue. In fact, I bet they were probably scared to include General Blue because the only reason why General Blue worked back then was because people were less sensitive. Everyone's too sensitive these days. They would probably burn the game alive if they knew about General Blue. I mean, he was invented back in the 90s in Japan, so you can probably understand, oh yeah, it's 90s Japan. Of course they think that's normal. But for people these days, oh god. Hell, in BT3 even, he actually has a couple of lines that he can say that's really creepy. The whole joke is that he's gay, but like and that's like supposed to be the whole joke. Like it's just meant to be like an innocent joke where he's gay. That's like literally it. But of course, some people like to blow that out of proportions. But the problem with him is that he's a little too excited about being gay. In fact, there's one scene in particular where apparently Funimation got cold feet when they did the dub, and they changed one of his conversations he had in one scene because he in the filler episode where they go to Arale's village in Penguin Village, um, there's this car mechanic guy that like shows up, and in the dub they come up with this really weird cover up where he like says he found his long lost brother, and the mechanic is just confused, like, I don't know you. But in the original, the reason he's excited isn't because he found his brother. He's excited because you're my type. That's literally the joke. And the guy's like flattered, like, oh, you humble me. And he's like, but I'm not that kind of guy. And yeah, they kept his creepiness in the game. I mean, when he dragon dashes towards you, he literally goes, "Coming!" Like it sounds like it's like that kind of voice you hear, like the way he says it. It's like when you say, "Honey, I'm home." It's like that, but he's saying, "Coming!" Like he's ready for dinner, but he's coming at you. And sometimes when you hit him, he like giggles. And if you lose as him, he actually like in the midst of him groaning and grunting from pain, he's for some reason says, "This feels kind of nice." He's like the only character who feels pleasure when he loses. So a part of me is probably like, yeah, if they tried to add a character like that to a game in 2024, I bet they didn't want to run the risk. But no, other characters like King Piccolo, like no King Piccolo, bro, he was cool. Or no Grandpa Gohan, you know how important of a character he is? He's the reason Goku is even a good guy. Although one thing I will complain about, even this is a problem I have with BT3 as well. If you're going to include Chi-Chi, why the fuck did you include her kid form? Why? Most people don't want her, they want her adult form. Specifically from the 23rd tournament, because that was probably like the moment that she was the coolest out of any point in the show. Because honestly, that's when she peaked. She kind of became a stupid character after that. In fact, Toriyama even said before that he had no idea what to do with her anymore after the 23rd tournament. So, like, the only thing he can come up with was just to do a running gag where she's just, like, the stereotypical, like, strict, stern mother that just complains about everything. That was, like, the only thing he had for her. In fact, it's like the only time you really get to see her do anything is like in some of the movies. Because my favorite scene that she has in the movies is in the BoJack movie where, oh no, it wasn't the BoJack movie. It was the Lord Slug movie. She actually beats up like two of the guards. Like Lord Slug's henchmen, they like wear these like fucking like these like space suits, like armor. She runs up to them and just fucking kicks the shit out of two of them. It's like, hell yeah. But no, she was actually cool because like she was grown up for one, so she wasn't as childish. She wasn't like screaming and running away from everything like she was when she was a kid. And she actually this was before she became a nag. Like, this was back when she was still, like, respectful to people. And, like, actually just wanted to fight for fun, like Goku did. So I just think it's perplexing that that version of her, like, never fucking appears in any of these games. The only game where I know of that version of her is playable is Super Dragon Ball Z, and that's it. That's the only game that she's playable. In Tenkaichi 3, it's her fucking kid form. And I feel like the designers were just being goofballs because a lot of because they really run the joke in about her being in the game when you listen to a lot of the character interactions that they have with her. Every time I see her character in BT3, I'm just like, oh, Japan. It's like you couldn't just resist but to have a little girl in the game, could you? But yeah, that's what episode battle is, though. The only thing I really am annoyed about is the way the AI is programmed, because the AI is new. I can tell they're not using the old style AI. They, like, redid the AI. The AI is really fucking cheap in this game. Like, so there are days, like, if you're playing on a high difficulty fight, like, they just don't want you to have any fun at all. Like, they'll just interrupt everything you do and just, like, counter you to death. It's super annoying. It's like, oh, you dare do a combo for more than 2 seconds? How about I just break that and beat you up? And unlike the last game where there's an easy, normal, hard setting for campaign mode, now they don't even really have names. There's just like the standard level, and then there's the reduced level. That's literally what the game does. Like, occasionally at times, especially if you lose multiple times in a row, which I have lost multiple times in a row before, it will give you the option to lower the difficulty. Like, it will tell you if you want to use reduced difficulty or non-reduced difficulty. That's, like, literally the only two. There's just normal and reduced. And I decided not to do reduced because reduced gives you less, rewards. In fact, some of the rewards I think you actually can't get if you play it on reduced. Um, so I just played through all of them on the main difficulty setting. Then there's custom battle, which might be my favorite mode in the game because it essentially, in a sense, allows you to create your own fight scenario. And it works just like in the campaign mode where you can have an intro segment of up to 5 scenes. That because there's a limit, because I guess they didn't want people to have intros that are too long. Up to 5 scenes before a fight starts. You can have a cutscene where characters might show up, but then there's like dialogue and all that before the fight starts. And then you get a title card, like it's a fucking anime episode. And after the title card, then the fight starts. And the things you can do in the battle are really comprehensive. I actually really like it. It's a pretty robust editor. You can change so many things. So essentially you create a bunch of events and scripts and shit that happen mid-fight. So it's like, oh, their health got to 30%. Now this thing happens. Oh, their ki went to a certain amount. Do this. Oh, wait, they just used this move. Do that. Oh, this amount of time has elapsed. Do this. And there's a lot of things you can do. And, like, you can force them to use certain actions. You can force an unblockable attack, which is a special mechanic if you want to take scripted damage or something. You can, like, heal them, heal you, recover their ki or make them lose ki. Same for you. And health as well. You can also lose health. You can, like, you can apply buffs and debuffs, like, automatically. You can make them play their emote. You can, like, you can make them just instantly go into sparking if you wanted to. You can also restrict moves, too, where it's like, oh, now you can't use your supers, or now you can't use your skills. They even have one that disallows you from throwing ki. And among other things, because yeah, you can also do. There's another cool thing you can do. Instead of just doing stuff like that, you can actually do it so that when you do a certain thing, you can trigger a new cutscene. So you can actually create other cutscenes that are separate from the intro and the outro. Because the intro and the outro are like the minimum, although technically you don't need any scenes. Um, though that would be kind of lame, I guess. I mean, I guess you could do it if you didn't want to do any storytelling. But you can actually trigger like cutscenes mid battle, and then the battle will resume where you left off after the cutscene plays. It is super cool. You can like change the music mid battle and all that. Set the music. You can make people tag out to certain characters or not. Like restrict or allow certain mechanics like transformations and switching. And they even made a bunch of custom capsules specifically only for custom battle that you can't use in any other mode. And I can see why, because it does a lot of ridiculous things that would be broken. Just like, for example, what if you wanted to make like a boss battle where the opponent just has stupid shit and you don't, and you just have to win? You can just make a boss fight, basically. It's awesome. Custom battle is the coolest fucking thing in the game. The only thing I don't like about it is the text, because the text used for dialogue. Um, Instead of using a like filter system where you can type anything you want, but if it sees certain words, it will just nope you. That's not how they did it. They were really cautious about it because the way they did it is that there's a roughly like 6-ish thousand like preset sentences, and there are certain keywords within those preset sentences that you can change. For example, you can go, hurry up, Goku, where Goku is a keyword. So you could still say, you could have it say, hurry up, Piccolo. So like that's how it works. That's how they did it, and it's really lame. I hate it. I just want to make my own story, damn it. One thing that's funny is that like literally like a week after the game came out, people already cracked it and found mods and made mods. I'm like, bro, the game just came out. I just started playing it. Are you telling me there's mods already? And most of it's just like cosmetic stuff, but still, like, bro, like they could not even wait to mod. The only thing I'm a bit sad about is that episode battle and custom battle is kind of, for the most part, all you do outside online. Because those are just, that's it. Because aside from those two modes, the only other thing you really have is just fight a computer in battle, go into training mode, go into a special training mode where they teach you the mechanics of the game, which they did have in BT3, by the way. And in fact, I think BT3 has an underrated tutorial system. Um, and Sparking Zero kind of keeps about the same system for tutorials, and it works about as well as threes. Um, and you can also like do a world tournament against computers too, which is something. In fact, doing it actually gives you a lot of zenny if you do it for the first time. So it's actually incentivized you do at least one. Um, that's it though, because other than that, all you really get to do in single player is like go to Zeno's place, which basically just lets you get rewards for doing certain milestones. So it's basically just a let's check the things you did in this game, and if you did those things, you come to Zeno to unlock those things. Although some things unlock automatically, which makes that area kind of weird. Where it's like, oh, you did this thing, you get a new tag you can use for your player tag or some shit. Then there's Roshi's place, which the only thing you really do there is either customize your player card or go to the customize mode. And if you go to customize mode, you can either shop for new items or go to customize mode, which works the exact same as character customization in BT3, where you apply capsules to a character. So you can make a custom character, like Because, like I said, capsules is something you're not supposed to use online. It's just like an offline thing for fun. They're basically like perks. You put it on their characters, like, so you put on this capsule, now they hit a little bit harder. Or you put on this capsule, they take less damage. You can shoot more ki. Your ki charges faster. A bunch of different things they have. They actually have new ones they didn't have in the last game, which is cool. Um, they also rebalanced a few of them to be cooler, like the master skills. I think the master capsules are better now. So that's basically what you do there. Customize your character and buy new stuff for the character. Including costumes. The costumes need to be bought. Some of them can be unlocked by chance. Then there's Mr. Satan's house, which it's kind of just like a miscellaneous fun room because there's like nothing you have to do in there. Because there's the girl talk section where Videl gets a phone call from Boma and Chi-Chi, and literally all it is basically like a character bio thingy. Because like you look up a character, you can see some of their stats and like what their moves are, but you can click on a little button called Girl Talk, and Videl, Chi-Chi, and Boma will basically have a conversation about that character. Like they just reminisce about whatever character they see, or for characters they don't know, they're like, "Who is this? He reminds me of someone." It's actually pretty funny. There's videos out there if you want to hear all the girl talks for all characters. It's pretty funny. Um, so that one's just like a fun mode. Then there's replay. So if you ever saved a replay for a certain fight you like, you can watch it. And then there's just a mode where you can like watch different cutscenes again or listen to music. Big whoop. Um, and then the last area is the lookout with Dende. You can collect Dragon Balls in this game when you do certain objectives, and they have the Earth Dragon. They have Shenron, they have Purunga from Namek, and they have Super Shenron from Super. Um, and based on which balls you get, the Super Shenron balls are the hardest to get, and the Earth Shenron balls are the easiest to get. And because of the difficulty of it, the wishes you get are weaker or stronger. So, like, for example, if you wish for money, aka wish for Zenny, the amount of Zenny you get is based on which dragon you got it from. Because I've noticed that you get more from Super Shenron than what you do from Shenron. And Purunga is like the medium level one. Gives you more than Shenron, but less than Super Shenron. You can wish for new costumes, wish for more money. You can wish for more skills or more like Pataros or not Pataro. Wish for more capsules. I think was one of them. Uh, that's like mainly what they give you. That's basically all that it is. And if you don't have the Dragon Balls that you need, then that area is useless. As Goku will just kind of talk to Dende and be like, "Yep, there's nothing to do." And that's all the modes. But at the World Tournament, I forgot to mention because the episode battle and custom battle are at Capsule House, Capsule Corp. Zeno's places for the milestone shit. Um, the World Tournament grounds is where you fight people and do tournaments. But battle and World Tournament, obviously training doesn't because it wouldn't make sense, have both an online and offline option. So you can do online tournaments or online battles. And they give you some options, like you can do ranked, you can do player matches where it's unranked basically. Just against, you can like create your own room, you can search for someone else's room, and you can also play full tournaments with people online too. You know, standard online procedure. And when you do online, you can choose to do singles or DP. Obviously, team battles are off the table because that would be broken. Team battles are left for offline only. Because team battles are the same as DP, but there's no DP, meaning there's no limit on what character you can pick. It was a thing in BT3 too. There's just team and then there's DP, which is supposed to be like the held back version. Man, that fucking online. What do they do to the online? It's a travesty. They have to fix that or patch that because honestly, like 90% of the player base is gone since the game started. And I don't blame them because most people quit on the game mainly because of how shite the online is. And honestly, for most people, the online is the reason they bought the damn game. I was really hoping that I could maybe make like something out of it. Like be like, okay, so I played the single player for like 9 streams or whatever. And I was like, yeah, let's see if I can just stream some ranked battles or something. Like, that could give views, right? And then I realized, oh, wait, I can't because I get disconnected. This is less of a problem for certain console owners, but I've heard that some people on PlayStation actually get disconnects too. It's not nearly as bad as it is for Steam players, but it does happen to them apparently. The only people I haven't really been hearing complaints about are people who play it on like the Xbox. I guess it's more stable for them. Lucky bastards. um, but no, on Steam, goddamn, on Steam, ugh. And hell, the Steam community has like a whole fucking page, just like letting people know that this is a problem, this is a thing. People know about it. Like they had to make a notice about it because they knew it was a thing. And all the tutorials that you can look up about fixing it, they're horse crap because basically, here's the truth. They're basically telling you that maybe it works because um it's possible that the computer you're using or the OS you're using is compatible with most people and therefore means that it should work, but there's a other reason why it doesn't work other than the game. And that's usually why those tutorials can help some people but not others, is because for some people technically the problem isn't the game, it's something else. So in that case it helps them. But if you actually do have everything in order and everything is correct with your with your fucking DNS servers and shit, like everything's fine, um and the game still doesn't work, the thing is, no one yet knows the solution. No one actually knows what is wrong with it and how to fix it. No one really knows. It's just that the videos will tell you to do things for like DNS and like flushing your IP or whatever it's called, because those are issues that are like used for like general internet connection problems. Nothing related to the game itself. It's just like a general solution kind of thing. Because that's the best they can do. The best they can do is go, oh, well, here's what you can do for internet issues in general, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for this game. Because they don't know the actual error. They don't know what causes it. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I really hope they fix it though, because holy fuck, dude. I am still really sad and angry at the same time. I'm like sangry about how bad the online is and how unless you're one of those lucky pricks who's playing it on like Xbox or something, um you get disconnect errors a lot, especially for Steam. Like I said, if you're playing it on Steam like I am, then I'm sure you know already about how picky the online is, and it will kick you out without a moment's notice. Be like, oh, you decide to play ranked? Nope, you don't get to play ranked. I'll kick your ass out. And as I explained earlier, the only reason I was able to play online was because me and a small group of people who all had the disconnection error problem decided to band together and essentially invite each other through in the game through Steam. And like I said, for whatever reason, if a friend invites you to something on Steam, the signal is like, or the game is like more forgiving. Like the game is less likely to kick you if you do it. I don't know why it works like that, but if a friend invites you in Steam, it like runs better. And also because all of us use Windows 10, it works. But some of the people use Windows 11, and they can't play with us. The game will kick them. I am not joking. It is so picky. Even from 10 to 11, it will think, ugh, and just die on you. Same goes for, since there's no crossplay, obviously, then people play. That's another problem entirely. In fact, that's not a problem that's unique to Sparking Zero. Like, most fighting games still do this. Like, I'm pretty sure Tekken still doesn't have crossplay, which is stupid. Um, I think Street Fighter doesn't have crossplay either. Or was it Mortal Kombat that doesn't have it? I'm trying to remember which one has it. Whatever. But, like, it's a dumb problem. So it's like, okay, so it's already bad enough that you don't have crossplay, but the fact that the internet is, like, really poorly written, like, honestly, their netcode must be shit if it works like this. I mean, I wouldn't really be an expert in netcode. In fact, I still have yet to program a game with netcode yet. I'm gonna have to learn it myself at some point. But from what I've seen of examples of it, it is a little bit complicated. But, like, sure, it's, like, but you gotta remember, these games are being made by the professionals, the people who get paid to do it. Like, these fucking high-budget programmers. Are you telling me that none of them have a clue on how to write netcode? Paying money for someone to work on something is a fucking sham. I actually know a lot of people in some professions I've seen. You can get people with better quality for free than people who cost like $10,000 for some things. I've actually seen that phenomenon. It is real. There are people who get paid a lot that work less good than people who pay either for free, or who either don't pay you or pay very little. Like, you can get someone that costs like $20 to do something, and they can do it better than someone who costs like $10,000. It's a real phenomenon. Now, it's not something that you can like reliably like use. Like, you can't just assume it's going to be true every time, because it's not always true every time. But it is true sometimes, and it's funny to me. I'm like, how do people who are this inept get paid this much? Like, what kind of cheat did they figure out? Like, what did they figure out? Um, yeah, that's mainly what I need to get off my chest. Was this? God, the offline was. I feel like it should have been more to it, because I will admit it's a bit bare, but like it didn't do anything like horrendously wrong. It's just okay. It's like serviceable. It's a fine game, but the online, God, it just ruins the whole thing. It's hard to even like recommend this game because the online is so bad. To be fair, Tenkaichi 3's Wii version, the Wii version of Tenkaichi 3 also allowed online, and pretty it was pretty bad there too, because it was the Wii servers they used were like kind of crappy servers. There was disconnects and lag. There's a lot of lag mainly. Mainly it was just that the lag wasn't very good. Like, it didn't run very smooth. It was pretty buffery, and people didn't like it because of that. It just didn't run very well. And that's why fans who love BT3. In fact, the fan base for BT3 is they're dedicated, man. They're hardcore for BT3. Um, they made their own servers and they run way better. So, like, if you ever wanted to do competitive Tenkaichi 3, there's fan servers for that. Hell, those guys were so dedicated, they actually technically made a Tenkaichi 4 mod, like, years ago that adds new things to the game. So, technically, they made a sequel, in a sense, way before Sparking Zero came out. Though, to be fair, that was fan-made, not real, so it's not actually Tenkaichi 4. This, Sparking Zero is the real Tenkaichi 4. And people did have mods up the ass for BT3. But and of course, Sparking also is having mods too. So I'm sure the mod train is gonna get crazy if you give it time. Oh yeah, and here's the cool part about custom battles. Remember how I mentioned how I said you can make your own battle scenarios? I forgot to mention that you can also share them with people online. And heck, it's one of the online features that actually works. Unlike the actual online battles that just disconnects you every 5 seconds, uh, sharing and playing other people's custom battles actually works like normal. It doesn't freak out. It's a miracle, really. I'm just like, dude, you can handle that, but you couldn't handle online fighting? Come on, dude. I mean, I guess to be fair, it would be less taxing to just, like, get a file from someone to use than to, like, literally just play a full match where a bunch of shit is running and you have to, like, sync up all the buttons and shit. I wonder if... I've been thinking about this for a while. I wonder if I could, like, make a little review about this game, because I feel like I could. It would be very bare bones, though, because video editing is like a fucking drag, and I hate it. So even if I did do reviews for games, which is something I've never done before, they would be, like, really basic, which probably wouldn't make them that funny. Like, I would try to make it funny with the voiceovers, but there wouldn't be, like, a lot of crazy things. I wouldn't be doing any kind of, like, skits or anything. Everything would just be, like, background, it's like PNGs or something. Maybe footage of the game, and that'd be it. So I don't know if I'd be cut out for that kind of video. Zero. It's always zero. I should have premiered this earlier. I, like, premiered it like 10 minutes before I was starting, which is my own fault. I should have did it, like, last night or something. It's just, like, totally forgot. Yeah, so torn of Sparking Zero. Why did they make the skill gauge go up so fast? They just sped up the skill gauge way too much. They really should have slowed that skill gauge back down, because the skill gauge build was perfectly fine in BT3. It was fine as is. But no, I guess they just wanted people to skill spam every fight, so they just made it charge a lot faster. And also, when you do Vanish Wars, as they call it, where you vanish into a vanish into a vanish, which does eat up your ki fairly enough, like, yeah, you're losing ki for it, but for some reason, vanishing people gives you a shit ton of skill gauge. So if you go into Vanishing Wars, you just get a crap ton of, you're able to just spam your super skills on, like, every, like, bro, you can go, like, after Image Strike Vanish War to another after Image Strike. Oh, God, what were they thinking? Also, I noticed something weird. They removed something. They removed something. Um, I realized this when I was playing as Dr. Gero. I'm gonna have to test it with other characters to know if I'm crazy or not. But I wanted, of course, Gero was good, obviously, and I was beating down people, grabbing them, sucking their health dry. But I wanted to see if I can go into Sparking and use my ultimate, which, as the community said, Gero isn't really a Sparking character. He's more of a rushdown, beatdown character. So, I'm like, okay, I get that. But I was asking, was like, they totally changed how ki works, because the way ki works in BT3 is, if you hit people, like, if you throw attacks and it hits people, it actually builds your meter, it actually builds up your ki. And then if you, of course, if you use ki, you lose ki, but if you use melee and it lands, then you gain ki. And, I think you also gain ki if you successfully block the opponent. Well, in this game, at least when I was playing as Gero, blocking and attacking people didn't change my ki at all. It just stayed at the exact same level. Is this intentional? Why did they do this? Why? Like, my ki is just stuck at whatever level it's at, so, like, I can punch them and I won't get anything for it? Why is this? The only way for me to get key, seemingly, is because if you didn't know, androids cannot charge their key manually. That's actually one of the downsides to the androids. But their key recovery speed, their passive key regeneration, is faster than other characters. That's the balance they have in BT3 and BT4. Android characters recover their key faster up to their base level, which in the case of Jiro, it seems to be 4 out of 5 bars. So it will build up on its own passively, and it does it faster than other characters, but you can't charge key manually. The base is 4, so when you get to 4, you end up just kind of staying at 4. You just kind of stagnate at 4, and you can't get any more. And the only way I've noticed that you can even get key again is if you do a vanish, or if you grab them. Actually, no, vanish makes you lose key. What am I talking about? If you have to grab them, you have to grab them to suck up their key, and I think that's literally the only way to get 5 bars, so that you can go into sparking and then hopefully land Drain Life, because Drain Life is a really good attack. Basically, Drain Life is basically the throw on steroids, because it hits the opponent, it steals way more health than last time, and also makes you recover the health still, while also dealing a lot of damage. Drain Life is awesome. But because of how Dr. Gero works, they kind of made it hard to use. I'm kind of sad. I guess maybe they thought their Gero was all... maybe the devs knew. Maybe the devs knew Gero was good. Because I think they balanced that, on purpose. He can't gain key through, attacking people like you normally can. It just gets stuck at 4 bars, and you have to grab them to get sparking. It's I think you have to do that. Because I could have sworn with other characters, also in BT3 it does, where punching people gives you key. That was 1 hour. I think I'm good. I think I got the point across about the game. Plus, no one's watching right now anyway, so I don't think it really matters if I stop. Have a good day, everyone. Next week, I'm not sure what I'll do next week. I mean, other than play Wario Land more, but I don't think I'm doing JC. I'm probably going to try doing a multiplayer stream again, and I can't guarantee that I'll get that all set up. I'll figure something out. I'll see if I can do a multiplayer stream next Friday. But now that I've finished this stream, I'm done for my streams for the week, so I got the weekend to work on my game. So at least there's that.